Archaeologists say writings on an ancient tablet confirm there was a global flood.
The dimensions set out in the Bible, cubit by cubit.
In the book of Genesis, God commands Noah to build a longer vessel which isn't round.
Many people know about the story of Noah's Ark, but one thing that has puzzled humans for thousands of years is the precise location of the ancient vessel. However, lately, scientists have made terrifying new discoveries that change everything we thought we knew about the huge boat. What have scientists discovered, and why is it causing so much excitement? Stay tuned as we bring you all the details about the exciting new discoveries. The narrative of Noah's Ark stands as one of the most detailed and intriguing accounts within the pages of the Bible. This tale paints a vivid image of a colossal vessel, a world submerged in water, and the resilient life forms that weathered this cataclysmic event. Starting with the very blueprint of the Ark, the Bible provides impressive specifications. The Ark was measured to be 300 cubits in length, 50 cubits in width, and 30 cubits in height. The unit, cubit, an ancient measure, varies in interpretation, but is generally accepted to approximate 18 inches or 1.5 feet. By this estimation, the Ark would span a staggering 450 feet in length, making it one of the largest wooden structures of its time. To put it into perspective, this would be similar to a modern 15-story building laid on its side and spanning 1.5 football fields in length. Crafted from gopher wood, as mentioned in the scriptures, the Ark's vast expanse was compartmentalized into rooms and sections. These compartments were strategically designed across 3 decks, enabling them to accommodate a vast array of animals, from the towering behemoths of the time to the smallest insects. The Bible describes animals being brought in pairs, one male and one female, to ensure their continued existence post-flood. This conservation effort was perhaps one of the earliest instances of a sanctuary or refuge for species in literary history. Beyond the living quarters for animals, spaces within the Ark catered to Noah and his immediate family. This included his wife, 3 sons, and their wives. These 8 individuals were tasked with a monumental responsibility: the care of thousands of animals and the Ark's maintenance over an extended period. While the exact routines, shifts, and methods they employed remain a mystery, it's clear from the text that they played a pivotal role in the survival of the Ark's inhabitants. Provisions were another critical element of the Ark's preparation. The Bible mentions God's directive to Noah to store food that is, both for you and for them, indicating that provisions were made for both humans and animals. The nature of the food, its quantity, its storage, and its distribution would have been a significant logistical undertaking. While the precise details of the food types, their preservation methods, and the storage techniques aren't explicitly enumerated, the account makes it clear that ensuring sustenance for the Ark's inhabitants was a priority. One of the most symbolic features of the Ark's design was its single door. Positioned presumably on the side, this door served as the sole entrance and exit. All the animals, Noah's family, and the provisions had to pass through this solitary portal. Once everyone and everything was on board, this door was shut, sealing the Ark's inhabitants from the raging floodwaters outside. The deluge itself, as described, was an event of epic proportions. The heavens opened and water gushed forth for 40 days and 40 nights, submerging even the highest mountains. The Ark, buoyed by these waters, floated above this submerged world. The biblical account states that the waters prevailed upon the earth for 150 days. This means that Noah, his family, and the animals were afloat in the Ark for around 5 months before the waters began to recede. Once the deluge subsided, the Ark found its resting place in the mountains of Ararat. Even after this grounding, the inhabitants had to wait for the ground to dry adequately. It was only after a total of more than a year since the onset of the flood that God instructed Noah to exit the Ark, marking the end of their unparalleled voyage. One thing that researchers have tried to find is the resting place of the biblical Noah's Ark, which would confirm the authenticity of the story. However, scientists have looked for clues in accounts similar to Noah's Ark, but not from the Bible. One of the most popular accounts is the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the oldest known works of literature, originating from ancient Mesopotamia. Within its cuneiform inscriptions is the story of Utnapishtim, a character who shares a fascinating resemblance with the biblical Noah. Just like Noah, Utnapishtim is forewarned of a great flood intended to wipe out humanity, and is given instructions to build a boat to save himself, his family, and the animals. The specifics of the boat in the Gilgamesh epic are intriguing. Utnapishtim's boat is described as a cube, measuring 120 cubits in every dimension and consisting of 6 decks. This diverges from the biblical description, which depicts the ark as a massive oblong vessel. However, the core essence remains remarkably similar. Both are monumental structures built to endure a cataclysmic event. As the waters rage in both stories, humanity is nearly annihilated, sparing only those aboard these miraculous vessels. Both Utnapishtim and Noah release birds to determine if the floodwaters have receded. Utnapishtim sends out a dove, a swallow, and a raven. The dove and swallow return, unable to find land, but the raven doesn't, signifying that it had found somewhere to perch. Similarly, in the biblical tale, Noah releases a raven, followed by a dove. The raven flies back and forth, but the dove returns with an olive leaf, indicating the existence of dry land. Now, as these narratives converge in their depictions of the deluge and its aftermath, they also present tantalizing clues about the potential resting places of these legendary boats. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, Utnapishtim's boat comes to a halt on the mountain of Nisir. Ancient texts suggest that Nisir was located somewhere in the region that today encompasses parts of Iraq and Iran. This location, while not as frequently cited in modern searches for the Ark, offers a thrilling avenue for historians and archaeologists eager to uncover the mysteries of the past. Contrastingly, the biblical account states that Noah's Ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. Today's Mount Ararat is located in eastern Turkey and has been a focal point for many expeditions attempting to locate the Ark. Over the decades, numerous individuals have claimed to spot remnants of the Ark on this snow-capped peak, with some even producing photographs of what they believe to be its fragments. While definitive proof remains elusive, the consistent connection to Mount Ararat has made it an enduring epicenter of Ark-related explorations. There is, however, another twist. Some interpretations suggest that the term Mountains of Ararat might not refer to the specific Mount Ararat we recognize today, but rather to the broader region known as Urartu in ancient times. This region encompassed parts of modern-day Turkey, Armenia, and Iran. Could it be that the remnants of the Ark lie elsewhere within this vast area, waiting to be discovered? These geographical hints, while tantalizing, are further complicated by the passage of time, natural processes, and the lack of conclusive archaeological evidence. The wooden structure of the Ark, if it did exist, would have faced decay, snow, ice, landslides, and more over thousands of years. Yet the allure of uncovering one of history's most iconic relics has led to a continuous flow of expeditions, research, and studies. This research has been going on for centuries, with many expeditions dedicated to the discovery. These include the Flavius Josephus expedition. The esteemed Jewish historian Flavius Josephus wrote in the 1st century about the Ark in his monumental work, Antiquities of the Jews. He mentioned that people of his time believed the Ark's remnants were still present in the mountains of Armenia, likely potentially referring to the broader region of Ararat. The records mention locals taking pieces of bitumen from the Ark as talismans. Josephus's claim actually succeeded in fanning the flames of curiosity in the succeeding generations. There was also the Marco Polo's Chronicles. Fast forward to the 13th century, and the famed Venetian explorer Marco Polo was making reference to the Ark in his writings. While traveling through the region of Armenia, he heard tales from the locals about a great mountain, higher than any other in existence, where the Ark came to rest. Marco Polo's endorsement of these tales added another layer of intrigue for future Ark seekers. You have probably not heard of the Edison image, but it was an enthralling clue that surfaced in the 6th century through the chronicles of Edessa, an ancient city in Mesopotamia. It's said that an image of Jesus was sent to King Abgar V of Edessa with a letter. This artifact, known as the image of Edessa or the Mandalion, had depictions that, according to some, bore the representation of Noah's Ark. The presence of the Ark's imagery so far from the Ararat region, but within the cultural milieu of ancient Mesopotamia, is nothing short of fascinating. There were multiple sightings in medieval times too. Renowned Armenian historian Matthew of Edessa penned down accounts of the Ark being visible atop Mount Ararat during particular seasons. These writings, coupled with similar accounts by other historians like Hython, the Armenian prince and monk, and the Dominican friar William of Rubruck, emphasized the belief in the Ark's physical presence. There was also the Nestorian adventure in the 7th century. This period saw the rise of the Nestorian Christian sect in the Middle East. An interesting narrative emerged from their missionaries in the 9th century, who claimed to have climbed Mount Ararat and seen the Ark's remains. These accounts were documented and disseminated throughout the Christian world, making the Ark an even more sought-after relic. There was also the fabled journey of the Jacobites. In the 13th century, the Jacobite Christians, an ancient Christian community, brought forth a claim that would capture many imaginations. They claimed that one of their monks had made the arduous journey to the peak of Mount Ararat and witnessed the Ark's remains. And not forgetting the first map. One of the most exhilarating developments came in the form of the first world map to depict the location of Noah's Ark. Crafted in the 16th century by the Ottoman geographer Piri Reis, this map pinpointed the Ark's location in the Ararat region. But a modern impetus to the search for Noah's Ark came in the late 50s, when a NATO personnel flying a mission found a spectacular discovery in Turkey. Durupinar's keen eyes spotted something unusual, a peculiar boat-shaped formation on the mountainside. This wasn't just any random geological formation. Its shape and dimensions seemed uncannily reminiscent of the biblical description of Noah's Ark. The location, near the Doğu Bayazıt province of Turkey, was no random spot. This region is nestled in the vicinity of Mount Ararat, the legendary resting place of the Ark, as described in the Book of Genesis. Durupinar's discovery, backed by aerial photographs, soon ignited worldwide excitement. Could this indeed be the elusive site where Noah's Ark came to rest after the Great Deluge? The formation, measuring approximately 500 feet in length, seemed to match the biblical dimensions of the Ark. Its unique boat-like shape, standing out from the surrounding terrain, evoked wonder and astonishment. And while the ages had undoubtedly worn away the structure, the clear outline remained, almost as if time itself had sought to preserve this testament to ancient history. News of the discovery traveled fast. Enthusiasts, archaeologists, and theologians from around the globe turned their attention to this anomalous formation. The narrative was incredibly compelling. A cartographer on a routine aerial mission, equipped with the latest technological tools, serendipitously encounters a site that could potentially be one of the most significant religious artifacts in history. A few years after Durupinar's initial discovery in the early 1960s, a team from the United States, spearheaded by Dr. Arthur Brandenberger of Ohio State University, arrived to further investigate the site. Using advanced imaging technology, they took a closer look at the formation. The symmetry of the structure and its striking resemblance to the shape of a ship further intensified the discussions. The site's topographical features added layers of credibility to the claim. Durupinar and the subsequent team identified what appeared to be submerged, ship-like ribs running along its breadth, adding to the narrative that this could potentially be a petrified structure of ancient origin. The 1970s and 1980s witnessed a series of expeditions to the site. With Durupinar's discovery as the anchor point, these explorations aimed to unravel the mysteries surrounding the formation. Ron Wyatt, an American explorer, took a particular interest and made multiple trips to the site. Using metal detectors, subsurface radar, and other technological tools, he and his team identified an array of intriguing anomalies that seemed to suggest man-made structures beneath the surface. One of the most riveting finds was the presence of drogue stones near the formation. These massive stones with holes carved at the top matched ancient descriptions of stones used to stabilize ships in turbulent waters. Their proximity to the Durupinar site further fueled the narrative that this could have been the final resting place of the Ark. Throughout the latter part of the 20th century, the site garnered global attention. Documentaries, books, and articles flourished, diving deep into Durupinar's discovery and the ensuing investigations. The discussions weren't just limited to historical or religious implications. The discovery bridged the gap between modern technology and ancient texts, between aerial photography and biblical chronicles. Meanwhile, critics of the theory that Noah's Ark is located in modern-day Turkey claimed that there was no evidence of a massive flood in the area purported to be the resting place of the vessel. Enter William Ryan and Walter Pittman, two trailblazing geologists, with a question. Was there evidence of a massive ancient flood in the region around the Black Sea, and could this corroborate the story of Noah's Ark? In the 1990s, Ryan and Pittman embarked on a quest. Harnessing state-of-the-art marine technology and drawing from their geological expertise, they delved deep into the waters of the Black Sea. Their goal? To unravel the marine secrets of this unique body of water and to potentially shed light on one of the world's most iconic biblical tales. Ryan and Pittman began to notice intriguing patterns in the sedimentary layers of the sea floor. These patterns hinted at a drastic and swift change in salinity levels that must have occurred at some point in history. This was not just a small shift. It indicated a massive influx of fresh water into what was previously a saltwater lake, turning it into a sea. The pieces of the puzzle were fitting together. This was evidence of a tremendous flood. Ryan and Pittman analyzed the sediments in the Black Sea basin by using various methods, such as geological data. They examined the rock layers and formations in the basin, looking for signs of erosion, deposition, and salinization caused by the inflow of seawater. Radiocarbon dating. They measured the age of organic materials in the sediments, such as shells, wood, and bones, to determine when they were deposited and how they changed over time. Sediment cores. They drilled into the seafloor and extracted cylindrical samples of sediments, which revealed the stratigraphy and composition of the basin over thousands of years. Ancient texts. They compared their findings with historical accounts from various cultures, such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Greeks, and Romans, that described similar flood events in their myths and legends. But what caused this huge inundation? The duo theorized that as the last ice age waned and glaciers melted, rising waters breached a natural dam at the Bosporus Strait, causing fresh water from the Mediterranean to pour violently into the then freshwater lake. The result was an apocalyptic flood that increased the size of the Black Sea by over 30%, submerging vast expanses of land and potentially leading to massive displacements of ancient civilizations. The implications of Ryan and Pittman's findings were staggering. Not only did this validate the idea of a catastrophic flood in the region, but the timeline also correlated with various flood myths from diverse ancient civilizations. Could it be that this flood was the very event that inspired the tale of Noah's Ark, amongst other legends? The geologists' investigations didn't stop at sedimentary layers. Marine archaeological surveys unveiled further surprises. Underwater explorations revealed the remnants of ancient structures and tools, indicators of human habitation, now submerged beneath the Black Sea's depths. It was as if the sea, in its silent, mysterious ways, was preserving echoes of a bygone era, awaiting intrepid explorers like Ryan and Pittman to uncover them. The discovery of these submerged settlements suggested that the flood led to a massive migration of people from this region, spreading tales of this cataclysmic event. As these displaced populations settled in new lands, they carried with them the harrowing tales of a massive deluge, tales that might have been passed down through generations and etched into cultural and religious texts. Given this substantial evidence of a flood, it's no stretch to imagine that the vicinity, including parts of modern-day Turkey, would have been significantly impacted. If one were to tie this to the narrative of Noah's Ark, it paints a vivid picture. Noah's Ark coming to rest in the mountainous regions of Turkey post-flood aligns well with Ryan and Pittman's findings about the Black Sea deluge. Their research opened up a treasure trove of questions and possibilities for historians, archaeologists and theologians alike. Did the survivors of this Black Sea flood, in their quest for higher and safer grounds, trek towards the mountains of Ararat in Turkey? Did they bring with them tales of survival, hope, and rebirth, which got immortalized in the form of the Noah story? Moreover, Ryan and Pittman's exploration and discoveries reinvigorated interest in the region. Expeditions, both marine and terrestrial, gained momentum. Every submerged artifact, every ancient shoreline, and every sedimentary clue became a testament to the region's rich history and its potential ties to legendary tales. Some researchers, however, have proposed other locations. Another popular site is the Zagros Mountains, a long mountain range that stretches from western Iran to eastern Iraq and southern Turkey. This theory is based on several arguments that challenge the identification of Ararat with the modern-day Mount Ararat in eastern Turkey, and suggest that the Zagros Mountains are a more plausible and realistic option for the resting place of the Ark. The first argument is that Mount Ararat is a volcanic mountain that did not exist until after the flood, according to some geologists. Therefore, it could not have been the mountain range that Genesis 8:4 refers to when it says that the Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Moreover, Mount Ararat is located far from the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt, which makes it unlikely that Noah and his descendants would have settled there after leaving the Ark. The Zagros Mountains, on the other hand, are closer to Mesopotamia, where Noah's descendants migrated after the flood, according to Genesis 10 and 11. The Zagros Mountains also have many peaks that are higher than 15 cubits, or about 22 feet, which is the minimum height that the water level reached during the flood, according to Genesis 7:20. The second argument is that Mount Ararat is very difficult to access and explore, especially at its summit, where the Ark would have been buried under ice and rock for thousands of years. The Zagros Mountains, however, are more accessible and hospitable, and have a long tradition of being associated with Noah among the local people. Some of the specific mountains within this range that have been suggested as possible candidates for the Ark are Mount Judi or Qardu in northern Iraq, Mount Pir Omar Gudrun in southern Iraq, or Mount Lubar in southwestern Iran. These mountains have been mentioned in some historical records, linguistic analysis, or geological clues as potential landing sites for the Ark. The third argument is that Mount Ararat does not match the description of the biblical Ararat, which could refer to an ancient kingdom called Urartu that encompassed parts of Armenia, Turkey, and Iran. This interpretation would allow for more possible landing sites for the Ark within this region, such as Mount Kudi or Judi in southeastern Turkey, which is mentioned in some Islamic sources as the resting place of the Ark, or Mount Suleiman in western Iran, which has a long tradition of being associated with Noah among the local people. The Zagros Mountains are part of this broader region of Ararat or Urartu, and therefore could be considered as a more accurate and faithful interpretation of the biblical term. Another proposed location is somewhat in the Pamir Mountains, a vast and rugged range that spans across Central Asia. The Pamir Mountains are also known as the roof of the world because they are among the world's highest mountains, reaching up to 7,495 meters or 24,590 feet above sea level. Some biblical scholars and explorers have suggested that the Pamir Mountains are the true mountains of Ararat, mentioned in Genesis 8:4, where the Ark came to rest after the Great Flood. There are several reasons why the Pamir Mountains could be a plausible site for Noah's Ark. First, they are located at a junction of several other major mountain ranges, such as the Tian Shan, Karakoram, Kunlun, Hindu Kush, and Himalayas. This means that they could have been easily accessible by water during the flood, and that they could have provided a natural barrier for the animals to disperse after leaving the Ark. Second, they are situated in a region that has a rich and ancient history of civilizations and cultures, such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Mongols, and Turks. Some of these cultures have their own versions of the flood myth, which could indicate a common origin or memory of a historical event. Third, they are home to diverse and unique flora and fauna, some of which are endemic or endangered. This could suggest that they were preserved by the Ark, or that they evolved from the animals that came out of it. However, finding Noah's Ark in the Pamir Mountains is not an easy task. The terrain is extremely harsh and inhospitable, with freezing temperatures, strong winds, avalanches, and landslides. The area is also politically unstable and prone to conflicts and violence. Moreover, there is no conclusive evidence or eyewitness testimony that supports the claim that the Ark is there. Most of the alleged discoveries or sightings have been based on vague or dubious sources, such as ancient legends, local folklore, aerial photographs, or personal experiences. Many of these claims have also been debunked or refuted by experts and authorities. Nevertheless, some people still believe that Noah's Ark is hidden somewhere in the Pamir Mountains, waiting to be uncovered and revealed to the world. They argue that it is possible that the Ark has been preserved by ice or snow, or that it has been buried under layers of rock and soil. They also point out that there are still many unexplored or inaccessible areas in the Pamir Mountains that could hold clues or secrets. They hope that one day, with more advanced technology and cooperation, they will be able to find and verify the existence of Noah's Ark in this remote and majestic region.